Hello everyone and welcome to Mr. Simplify's tutorials. In this tutorial we're going to look at the building blocks model and we're going to simplify it with the use of an example. We have previously looked at the balance scorecard model in this channel. The building blocks model can be considered to have evolved from the balance scorecard model. A lot of managers, as we all know, make the mistake of taking only financial data into consideration when it comes to measuring performance. This would be data like sales records, market share, profit margin, etc. Now, that's all well and good, but one of the problems with only looking at financial metrics is that it presents a very short-term view of the business. So a company that embraces this approach would survive and generate some profit in the short term, but in the long run, such a company would never actually grow. It won't ever break the shackles. Just like its predecessors, the building blocks model stresses the importance of non-financial metrics and links those to performance improvement. The model is essentially a tool to help management devise performance measurement mechanisms and put them in place to ensure that the organization's strategic objectives are met. Okay, it is built to work best for the service industry, but it can actually be used in any type of a business. Okay, now let's get to the actual model. So the building blocks model, as you can see in the graphic, consists of three components or areas of performance. These are dimensions, standards, and rewards. Now each component or building block goes a long way in creating a performance measurement structure in an organization. Now, if you look at these, the graphic here, these are the three components. So let's start looking at each one of them as we go through this tutorial. Yeah. Now, companies always have goals set for businesses to achieve, and dimensions are the areas that need to be monitored and controlled for the goals to be achieved. Okay, and as the word implies, standards are benchmarks. These are targets for the performance metrics used. These are the standards. These are the benchmarks against which we actually measure performance. Okay, against which we measure each dimension. The last component is rewards. Now, this is because rewards can actually motivate people to work and achieve the high standards which have been set. Okay, now let's look at each component in some more detail. And to simplify things for you, we will look at an example first. We'll lay the context first and then build the blocks for the example. Okay, now let's assume our company is a chain of pizza restaurants called OnlyPizzaz Limited. Now, as the name suggests, they mainly sell pizzas and drinks to go with them. They, however, sell various types of pizzas like small and large pizzas, relatively healthy pizza options, full of greens maybe, vegan pizzas, dessert pizzas, and individual pizza slices as well. So it's sort of like a one-stop solution for all pizza needs, so to say. Although the company owns sort of six of its stores, a few of its stores, the business is primarily operated on a franchising model. Okay, most of the decisions in terms of the menu, the recipes, the marketing, finance, and administration are actually taken centrally. In terms of the structure, there are 5 key partners who own the business. To fuel continued business growth, the company has actually decided to invest in a quality control system and a performance measurement system. Okay, now this is sort of like an overview of how things stand in the business, and now what we do is we look at each component and we will actually revisit the finer details of each component of the model through this example. The first component is dimensions, which are the areas to be monitored. And now, as we go deeper into dimensions, we understand that there are actually 2 subcategories of dimensions. These are results and determinants. Okay, now results are the outcomes. So results in the present time are the outcomes of the decisions taken in the past. Okay, financial performance and competitiveness are categorized under results. Decisions taken in the past will result in today's financial performance and competitiveness in the marketplace. Determinants, on the other hand, are ways for the company to look ahead and plan to achieve the determinants. So it's a way of looking into the future. So, like things like the key measures for the present are financial results and competitiveness, and the remaining factors are quality, innovation, flexibility, and resource utilization, and these are determinants. Okay, now results and determinants both combined together become the dimensions. The logic here is that getting the determinants right will actually produce the desired results in the future. So there is a link between the two. Now let's look at our example. Financial performance. Financial statements, it seems, reveal that the 5 partners of the business get around a 30% annual return on their investment in the business. Other relevant measures include other financial indicators like profitability ratio, net profit ratio, return on investment, and other indicators. So this is the sort of information that you would list under financial performance. Okay. Competitiveness. Annual reports indicate that the company's competitive advantage in the fast food market lies in the fact that they're specialists. So they specialize in producing a specific product of a higher quality than most competitors. They obviously have to ensure that this quality remains consistent and consistently high. The offering is also healthier than most other fast food outlets. Okay, and then quality. What you'd mention under quality is that the new quality management system with regular quality reviews and audits will ensure continued quality delivery. Innovation. This would be to experiment and to produce more flavorsome options, especially in the healthy menu section that they've introduced. Limited time healthy pizzas can be introduced to gauge popularity, and then if they're successful, they can be tried out. In terms of flexibility, you could write something like you could direct towards some flexibility in operations. For example, you could hire additional temporary or permanent staff to work in stalls in events, or to focus on seasonal surges in demand. Resource utilization. Faster and more efficient order management systems can ensure optimal utilization of resources and staff time. So another area to look at would be wastage of goods, for instance. So in terms of standards for OnlyPizza, the management needs to look at each dimension and draft optimal standards for each dimension to meet going forward. See, as you know, as you've seen, all of these components are tied in with one another. So because you're going to devise standards, you need to actually have dimensions. You need to actually have standards against which these dimensions will be measured. Okay, the standards set will actually need to possess certain characteristics. These are important factors to look at while you're actually setting these performance standards, okay? Now, these standards are ownership. It is important to establish who in the organization would actually take ownership and responsibility of which performance metric. Looking at our example, for instance, for one of the dimensions, quality, the new OnlyPizza quality management system would ensure consistent quality across restaurants. Now, feeding quality related information for individual branches can be the responsibility of the branch managers, who can actually input any customer reviews or any newly detected quality issues into the quality management system. Now, these are just some of the ways in which the system can be used. The next characteristic is achievability. Now, the model believes in targets and benchmarks to be realistic and achievable. If a target is unachievable, it can actually decrease staff morale and increase dissatisfaction internally. Now, this is something that a lot of businesses get wrong, as we all know. If targets are unachievable, then the staff is never actually gonna get that sense of fulfillment. It is important for the owners of any performance metric to set realistic targets, and in such a way that it ties in with the overall vision of the organization. For instance, if the deputy manager is handed responsibility to manage staff shift times or rotas, he or she would set target working hours for each restaurant, for each member of staff. The dimension here is resource utilization, essentially. Okay, if the required number of hours is set too high for experienced staff, it could actually burn them out. So the classic mistake of giving too many hours to the more experienced and the good quality workers, and giving less number of hours to the lesser experienced people can be made, and that would definitely not lead to a good situation. Equity. Benchmarks should be equally challenging for every aspect of the business. It shouldn't be too strict for some and too lax for others. For instance, if we consider innovation as the dimension, we mentioned about introducing limited time items on the menu. Similarly, the onus should be on the advertising department to produce newer and more innovative ways to direct the attention of the customers towards these products. The last component is rewards. Now, rewards should be designed to motivate people to work and contribute towards the achievement of the set standards. Rewards therefore need to have the following characteristics. Motivating. They should not be handouts. They should actually be able to motivate employees to put in their best and meet the set standards. Clear. The reward structure, the expectations and the actual rewards should be clearly communicated to staff. Controllable. Employees for whom the reward structure has been introduced should have control over their areas of responsibility. Now let's look at our example. For OnlyPizzaz, we've discussed how newer items should be introduced in the menu. Now, cooking these will be the responsibility of the chefs, and they should also be incentivized for the same. You see, the incentives should not only be to the marketing or the sales personnel. The promised incentive as a proportion of the sales would serve as motivation for the chefs as well. There needs to be clarity, however, in terms of how much the rewards are going to be. But the management also needs to consider controllability in that same situation. This is because if the cost for the item is kept too high, people might not buy the newer items, and the sales will actually be affected by that. They would therefore either need to think about the chefs being involved in the management of the pricing in some way, not entirely, or have a separate incentive for the pricing managers to manage pricing actively. Okay, so they might also actually get a share in the profits. So these are essentially the three essential building blocks on which the performance management initiatives of OnlyPizzaz Limited lay. If the building blocks are strong, there will be a higher likelihood of sustained growth and development. And this essentially is the purpose of the building blocks model. Okay? Great. So that was an overview of the building blocks model. I hope that was helpful for you. I thank you very much for your attendance. And as always, if you like the content of this channel, please like, subscribe, and please share and bring other people, bring your friends, your family, and anyone you could possibly think of who would actually benefit from this content. Drive them to this channel. I would highly appreciate it, and it would motivate me to produce more content. Thank you. Bye bye.